Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. We are coming live to you from San Francisco. Welcome, everyone, to our Dharma talk during our Fochi here at DTT. I'm glad you're here with us. First of all, I noticed this morning here, I noticed some good news this morning at around noontime. We heard, I received a text saying that the old abbot had to go to the hospital today because yesterday his heart ached for about an hour, today again for another hour, so he called the doctor and the doctor said, "Come on in!" to the emergency room. Master Old Abbot, are you still alive? Tell us, what happened? We gave us a scare there.
A Di Đà Phật, thưa thầy, bác sĩ test không có biết lý do. Máu trong cái máu oxy nó không có thiếu, nhưng là không có nghẹt. Chủ nhật này phải trở lên chạy cái treadmill cho người ta test lại.
They're going to torture him. Oh my God. Translation. Excuse me.
Emitofuo, Master, thầy sorry, thầy có thể lặp lại được không?
You were so excited, I couldn't hear you.
Thử máu thì không có thiếu oxy, tức là cái tim nó không có bị nghẹt. Oxy vẫn còn đầy đủ, có máu trong đó thì ông biểu là chủ nhật này trở lên để chạy trên cái treadmill đó để người ta test lại.
Emitofuo, Master, so the doctor test my blood and they did not find that I missing oxygen, and there is nothing that was locked up. So the doctor told me to come back on Sunday and run treadmill and test again.
So they're going to torture you on Sunday, huh? For giving them a scare. Okay. Well, when I heard it, I was concerned, very concerned. So I was planning on going there tonight to see if we can make arrangements for funeral services. But apparently he's doing okay, so I guess I don't need to go anymore tonight. Okay. So I'm glad you're okay. Yes, Old Abbot, say something before it's too late.
Dạ, con cảm ơn thầy và đại chúng đã quan tâm đến sức khỏe của con. Còn vấn đề nhà quan thì con nó mua cái insurance xong hết rồi. Cái nào mà con bất cứ ở đâu, anh Việt Nam ở đâu ở đây là người ta bay cái cost hết cho mình.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Master, and the Great Assembly for concerning about my health. About the funeral service, I already bought my own insurance. My son bought me my own insurance, so wherever I go, if things happen, they're gonna take care of it for me.
I see. Okay, don't go climbing mountains anytime soon, okay? It's kind of hard to retrieve the body. So anyway, I was concerned. So I said, impossible. How is it possible? So I was baffled for a while. And then later in the afternoon, and I texted CNC and I said, I'm going to go out on a limb that the old man is okay. And don't tell anyone. I don't want to embarrass myself. And sure enough, he's still alive. And so just want to let you know that let him know that it's a good thing that he has pain in the chest like that. Whereabouts pain is the pain? In the heart or here in the sternum?
Trái tim. Chỗ tức là
The heart.
bên trái mà nó gần cái giữa ngực mình á.
Okay.
Cái chỗ đó là bác sĩ ngay cái tim đó.
Okay, so his pain was
Mà
in the
lạ
heart.
là họ test họ không thấy cái triệu chứng oxy, thiếu oxy gì hết.
So they did a test and they couldn't see anything like usually when you heart issue, the heart malfunctions, then you will have deficiency in oxygen level. So that's the first thing that they did. They tested exactly like our doctor says, Dr. Lan Fang said, that's what they're going to do. So I was concerned. Anyway, so you are okay, you're normal. Okay, so the pain there is actually, what is it? Why do you experience pain in the
Không có
heart?
rõ, nhưng mà có lẽ là tại con worry hay gì, tại vì cái ngày hôm qua là làm lễ nó cũng đau như vậy, bữa nay làm lễ nó cũng đau như vậy.
Okay.
Trong suốt buổi lễ là con phải dịnh cái stand chứ thôi là con té xuống, cho nên chắc là tại con worry.
Okay, so during the evening ceremony, was that it?
Dạ buổi sáng đó.
Oh, in the morning. I see. Morning ceremony or morning recitation?
Thì buổi sáng khoảng 9 giờ mà nó đau cho tới 10 giờ.
9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The heart was in pain. His heart was in pain. Okay, so during the Buddha recitation, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Going to the Pure Land, no? Well, you see, it could be worse. This is when I say, oh gosh, missed the boat again. Anyway, and so I thought about it in the afternoon and said, no, that's impossible. There would be a heart attack. So that's why I texted Master Xin and said, I was worried. I didn't want to worry any of you. I was worried. I thought, let me see. So I look at that and I say, wow, so it cannot be a heart attack, could not be an issue. Actually, what it is the heart is getting better. It's being healed. Yesterday from 9 to 10, today is from 9 to 10 as well, approximately. So that's what happens. The reason being that when he's practicing in this like this intensively, the rest of you who are kind of lazy, you know who I'm talking about, huh? Okay, he's been participating full schedule, right? Yes, Master Old Monk.
Dạ thưa đúng rồi. Dạ, con hồi trưa con có giỡn với thầy với anh lúc ngồi là chờ bác sĩ, con có giỡn với anh Chánh Phong á. Tôi không có sợ chết đâu. Tại hồi ở Lưu Sơn Tự mọi người hỏi thầy, tôi hỏi thầy nói ở đây thầy biểu cái gì làm cái đó. Nữa chết giảng sanh, tôi nói giờ tôi có thẻ sanh rồi, tôi không có sợ.
Translation.
Yes, Master. So then I make a joke with Chen Phong during the time that I was waiting for the doctor. So I told him that I'm not afraid of dying because when I was at Loma and Temple, Master told me that do what you told, and then you will have your ticket just like a green card. So I'm no longer afraid anymore.
Ticket what? What kind of ticket?
Giống như cái thẻ xanh của nhập cư thường trú nhân.
It's like the green card, permanent resident card.
Of what? Of Korea?
Của tịnh độ.
Of the Pure Land.
See, the old monk is so naive. He believes anything he's told. Anyway, so I said, what happened to him? I thought about it. I contemplated the issue, and I realized that since he has been participating full time every single day so far. So this is the fifth day, right? 4.5 day. So he's been doing full time. So he got to the point where he's been working hard and cultivating with people whose level is higher than he, and therefore his body has been healing. It got to the point where now has been healing all this time, and now the biggest issue seems to be the heart. So the heart was in pain. So the heart is being healed. It's a good thing. So that's why you should go back Sundays to do the test, just for the heck of it, just because you gave us a scare, for giving us a scare, but otherwise there's nothing to worry about. Okay? You should listen to the doctor too. Go for a test, or they will find out your heart is slightly better than before. So if the next few days, if the heart is in pain again, it's a good sign. It's nothing to worry about, because while you're cultivating, while you're doing a Fo Chi, Chan Chi, and so forth, and you have issues, that usually 99% of the time is because you have an issue there and it's being healed. That's why there's pain. All right? So for example, when you're fasting and you feel very drained, very tired, and certain part of your body is hurting, that's because you have an issue there. All right? So it's being healed too. So I'd be very, very surprised if when you participate in a cultivation, intensive cultivation, like a Fo Chi, Chan Chi, and Guan Yin Chi, and so forth, and you have issues, it's because it clearly shows you have problems, and that's being healed. So it's a good thing. So pay attention to it. You don't want to ignore those issues. All right? Well, I'm glad you're still with us, Master O Abbot. Nothing to worry about. Continue to do whatever you want to do. Okay? You're fine. I noticed that he's been actually getting better and better the last 2-3 weeks, even before the Fo Chi. But the Fo Chi, as for your information, is it has a healing effect on all of you, not just him. If it's healing his body, it's also healing each and every single person who's been participating. Okay? So that's a good news. You don't want to ignore your health. This week here is hard work, a week of recitation and hard work, a lot of sacrifices for you and your family, but actually it does wonders for your health. Guaranteed. Okay? All right. Well, moving on. Does anyone have any questions or issues they'd like to ask? Yes, in the back. Number 3.
Dạ bạch thầy, hôm nay khi mà ngồi thiền buổi sáng, I started moving, like shaking. So I figured that it was just shaking like normal, but my head was pulled back, and it felt like it was with extreme force. And so I, recollected myself, and then I tried to resume normal positioning, and then eventually, as I'm focusing on the dantian, it would get pulled back again. And sometimes it was so violent that I would fall back and have to brace myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm just, I'm assuming it's just more similar to shaking, but just curious.
Not just shaking, but also head being pulled back. Never heard of it before. Anyone experienced this before? Cheng, did you experience that, head being pulled back? You shook a little bit, yes? No, you never shook? In time. So what happened? Sangwok Sunim, don't look at me like... every time I look at her, she's up to something. So. So what happened? What do you think? The shaking is clearly, we've seen it before. It's nothing new for us, right? So we said, shaking, so what? But this lady came up with a new variation. So her head is being pulled back. Why? Sangguk Sunim. She's laughing now. God. One Tek Sunim. Join the party. Why? Any Sunim? Anyone? Yes, Master One.
Master, I had that experience too when I was a lay person.
You were a lay person.
Yeah. So
Your hair was longer.
yes.
And your hair is being pulled back.
The head,
Yeah?
not just the head, the whole body. The whole body is fell back. Right?
No, for her, not just the whole body, it's hair, the head, right? Yeah, look.
I saw it yesterday too.
Yeah. You saw it? You had the same experience? But you had no hair. So it's a Vietnamese thing. Clearly, anyone else? Yes, JMT.
뭐라고 그러셨는데? 네, 안녕하십니까, 마스터.
Hello, 안녕하세요.
네, 앉아서 연부를 할 때요. 아미타불 그 음률이 높낮이가 있는 상태로 처음부터 시작을 하는데 마지막에 윤하 스님이 빅벨을 치기 전 속도가 제일 빠를 때도 그 음률을 계속 유지를 해야 되는 건가요? 저는 그 속도가 제일 빠를 때 소리가 일정하게 아미타불 이렇게 되는데 그 올라갔다 내려갔다를 유지를 해야 되는지 궁금합니다.
내려가는 거 그걸 따라 하셔야 되냐고요?
네, 특히 그 마지막에 속도가 제일 빠를 때요. 속도가 제일 빠를 때는 발음하기도 쉽지 않고 그 음률을 유지하기가 쉽지가 않더라고요. 근데 그게 저는 저절로 아미타불 이렇게 일자로 이렇게 저절로 그렇게 되는데 혹시 그렇게 해도 되는지 아니면 그 음률을 계속 유지를 해야 되는지 궁금합니다. Thank you, Master.
So, Master, I have a question about recitation, especially we're sitting and then reciting, and we start slowly with the Emitofuo, and toward the end, it goes really fast. So what happens with YongHua, start with a slow, and then there is a tone going up and sometimes going down. And do we need to follow when we are reciting the Emitofuo in the fastest speed? Do we need to still change our tone? Because in my case, when I recite in fastest speed toward the end of our recitation, my tone is just flat. It doesn't go up or down.
It doesn't matter. You're going to recite at any tone. It doesn't matter at all. Okay. Yes, Jane. Did you have a comment here? Comments. 3.
Thank you, Master. Last time, when Venerable Shenshun organized the long sit, this lady from Vietnam, and she experienced a similar situation. Her head was pulling way back.
Oh, and she's normal now?
I assume.
No permanent damage? She doesn't walk around like... Never mind. Okay, yes, 2.
Question from Christopher and comment from San Fran Daniel. Christopher's question is, Master, for those who can't attend Fochi in person at the temples, can we follow the program on Discourse at home? Would it still be effective?
Yeah, it could be effective too, but it's not the same. It's very helpful, but it's certainly not the same. Okay, inter-temple is better, but that's why we spend a lot invested in equipment to make sure you have access. When you go to the temple, it's very close to being there in person at the where the event is taking place. But at home on Discord, yes, it helps. It's still better than doing it by yourself, but it's not the same. All right, so yes, 9.
Well, I'm leaving tomorrow morning, so I'd like to thank Master for my having wonderful time here for last 10 days. I think I learned a lot, and I was able to see better how I'm still egoistic and not listening to others and trying to talk about myself. So this was a really good time for me to improve. And
so soon, the party ends so soon. We are sad to see you go, but go with God, as a saying.
Yeah. So would you give me some word of advice on my cultivation?
Word of advice and cultivation. Keep cultivating.
Don't quit. Yeah.
This is just the beginning, hopefully. You have a lot of good cultivators among yourselves. Okay?
Yes.
So you can learn a lot from them. This is a nice thing about us. This is why I like to remind you. Our little, all these way places we have is very much part like in the Pure Land, where you're practicing with a lot of people, different levels, next to each other, and bodhisattvas practicing next to very low level, next to, and so forth. So men, women, so forth. This is what happens in the Pure Land, actually. It's no discrimination where bodhisattva is in the bodhisattva area and you low life should be down there. No, in a Pure Land we're very, very, very democratic. Everyone goes and they cultivate next year to each other, and that's very beneficial because when you cultivate next to bodhisattvas, it's extremely beneficial for you. So, and you learn a lot. I like to remind you that your peers, your co-cultivators are superior cultivators because they produce results. We don't talk. You can perform, I'll teach you. When you're ready, I'll teach you. And they've been with us for some time now, and they actually at various levels, high to low. Okay, and the advantage, as I said, as in the case with the old Abbot, he's practicing among the people who's higher level of kung fu than his, and therefore it's healing the body, it's healing a lot faster than if he were to do it by himself. For example, the Hinayana people or the other people who practice, when they practice by themselves or with people low level, they actually are pulling the burden, bearing the burden of the people who are lower. That's what happens. At our temples, you're practicing with very high level people, so you can learn a lot from them. Okay, so learn more from your peers. That's the first level. Okay, and when your peers can definitely help you a lot in many ways that I can't. I'm more semi-retired. I like to think. So I only teach the teachers, usually. Unless the teachers overlook things, and I will step up and teach them, and teach everyone, okay? But there's a lot, you can learn a lot. Okay? If whatever I tell you will be the same as most of the cultivators would tell you, okay? All right.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so where were we again? Oh, the hair pulling. Before you distract me again, so why is there a head being pulled back? I don't know, but this is my theory that in a prior life, okay, she probably is into horse riding. Whoa! So now when you see it's cause and effect, now you cultivate and your head being pulled back. Whoa!
So, all Vietnamese people have done horseback riding in the past?
Yeah, most Vietnamese people are horseback riders. Yeah, Koreans too, clearly. You're 6.
네, 저도 쉐이킹을 좀 하는데 제가 느끼기로는 쉐이킹을 할 때 지나고 보면은 제가 되게 아팠던 곳이 쉐이킹이 많이 심했었던 게 있었거든요. 그래서 쉐이킹이 엄청 심해지고 그 다음번에는 그 부분이 좀 많이 치료가 된 것 같습니다.
Master, I do shake a little bit. So what happened is I shake, and then after shaking, I noticed that if that area had a problem, usually I was able to identify that area has an issue. So when I shake extremely, and I noticed that the area that has an issue was healed. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. The shaking is good. The shaking is a very good thing. Don't worry. And the head being pulled back, you're just paying off your karmic debts. So, be dignified about it. Yes, too.
Daniel has a comment. San Fran Daniel. My head gets pulled back as well, and I assume it's because my neck area is healing, because normally my neck is hunched, and I'm sure that's terrible for my chi flow.
Yeah, and that's all joking aside. Your head will pull back. Besides being, horseback rider or horse in a prior life, you're so used being pulled back. It could be. It usually means that you have some blockages in your neck, just here in the back, and that's why you pull back. It's a good thing. Don't worry. Okay, it will get worse. Thank you, Daniel, for the input. I almost forgot. Yes, anyone? That's what happens. When you spend your life pulling people back like a horse or a husband, eventually, when you meditate, your head will be pulled back. You realize it could be like crying right now. You say, "Oh, Abbot, don't leave us so soon." But we all having a good time. Huh? Old Abbot, you should have heart attacks more often. Never mind, just kidding. Anyone else has questions or comments or issues? Well, I praise the Lord that it worked out in the end with the old Abbot. Yes, too.
Hello, Master. I arrived last night.
Welcome. From the land of the rising sun? No.
From Toronto.
Toronto, almost rising sun. The sun rise before over here. Okay, welcome.
But today I was very upset and grumpy because I was really afflicted by the case, running around and screaming since last night.
What's running and screaming?
Case.
The kids? Oh, those demons?
I know, I talk to people,
We call it not kids, we call it little demons, goblins. See? From now on comes Halloween time. We paint the faces green, the green demons. Yeah.
Right, I talked to other people. It seems like no one got really afflicted except me. But I found it's really hard for me to get over this. So, yeah, I think I need some help
here. You shouldn't be afflicted. You should be so glad. I'm glad I don't have kids. You look at the problem the wrong way, the wrong angle. I look at them and say, oh, I'm glad I have no kids. You have to deal with it 24 hours a day? Look at that. It's cause for us to rejoice, not be afflicted. You see how miserable. We only have to put up with it for a short while. It's 24 hours a day for them until 18 years old, 22 years old, some cases, forever. You know, grandparents. Yeah, you become a grandparent, you still worry about your son. I hear it very often, trust me. People are so worried about the son marrying the wrong woman. You have no reason to be afflicted. This is nothing. Your pain and suffering is nothing compared to hers or his. Look at it that way. That's number one, okay? Number two is we practicing kindness and tolerance. Kindness is, see how happy they are. That's what we do. Spiritual practice. I like to tell people that we're different. In that quite a different temple, different practice, because I want to work on your heart so that it's kinder and more compassionate. I can't care less about, you sit 40 hours. Hey, you didn't hear that, okay? It's not that important. All that, the long sits and all this is to make you kinder and more compassionate. And that's another way for you to look at them and say, God, he's so. I'm glad I don't have a kid. Anyway, so that's how you feel compassion towards the mother, towards the father. That's what this is about. And then you bear it. Before you become kinder and more compassionate, you need to learn to bear it. Yes, it's annoying. At first, I was annoyed too. I said, "Whose kid is that?" I said, "Oh, hello." Okay? It's part of the training, by the way. Because it's not the kids, it's the noise, it's going to be something else. Okay? And you'll be amazed. What happens when you go to a typical place where they organize a Fochi and Chanchi and so forth? There's very strict rules. Don't bring kids, no noise, and so forth. It's a different kind of training where they grind it out. Okay? So they're doing fine until they're in samadhi and everything, until a kid screams at them. And what do you think? Whose kid are you? Yeah. So all the samadhi vanishes. Whereas now, you learn to bear it, to endure it, so that your samadhi is a lot more durable, a lot stronger, and nothing can affect it, including screaming kids, now or in the future, or forever. That's a different kind of training. Seems to work for a lot of people. Hang in there. Anything else?
I think my problem is I'm not kind and compassion, do not have enough compassion to other people.
Yeah. We're the same. I don't like it. But I have to endure it. You forget that in order to develop kindness and compassion, you have to endure more and more and more. That's how you develop it. All right? No one ever taught you. All right. JMT.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. Yes.
제가 1년 전에 24시간 앉고 나서 무릎에 고장이 생겨서 그 후로는 자선이 안 되고, 그때 마스터께 질문 드렸을 때 인내가 필요하다고 하셨는데요. 지금 1년이 지났는데도 호전이 안 되고 더 안 좋아져서 일상생활 하는데도 불편함을 느끼고 있습니다. 이런 때 제가 할 수 있는 것이 무엇인지 질문 드립니다.
Master, it's been about a year. I sat for 4 hours, and then after that, I experienced knee problem, and I was not able to sit in full lotus. So at that time, I asked you, and then you advised that I need more patience. So since then, my condition is not improving, and it's up to the point that it's becoming not comfortable doing the daily activities. At this point, what should I do, Master?
Did you go see a doctor about the knee?
네, 사진을
What did they say?
사진을 찍었는데 관절이 닳진 않았고 무리를 하면 안 된다. 그리고 더 이상 이 무릎에 무리를 주는 행동을 하면 안 되고 최소화해서 무릎을 쓰라, 이렇게 진단이 나왔거든요. 무릎이 부었는데 이거는 원인은 염증에 의한 것이다, 이렇게 말씀하셨습니다.
Yes, Master, I went to see a doctor and they took x-ray and they said it's not a problem with the cartilage. It's more like they said do not use the knee and don't put any pressures. And the reason why the knee is swollen is due to the inflammation. Thank you.
Okay, and then don't bend your knees until it heals. That's all. Stop bending the knees. Apply the oil. Okay, don't bend your knees anymore. The bad one. Bend the other, but not the one that hurts. Okay? You are no longer young, so give your body a chance to heal. It takes longer now to heal. Okay? You don't want to hear it, but tough luck. Yes, Bundang has a question.
안녕하세요, 마스터.
안녕하세요.
머리 흔들리는 게 아주 많이 심하고요. 아미타불 연불 하면서 계속 머리가 많이 흔들리고요. 하품이 말 듯하면서 나오지 않아갖고 굉장히 괴롭고요. 그 머리에 뭔가 에너지가 있어갖고 나가지도 않고 계속 올라가면서 내려오지도 않고 그렇다고 해서 빠져나가지도 않고 해서 굉장히 괴롭습니다. 답 좀 주세요.
Master, my head is shaking extremely. I'm reciting Emitofuo, and then it's almost like I want to yarn, but I can't really yarn, or I could do the yarn. It's kind of like between, and there's energy in my head, and it's feel like it's gonna go out, but it's not going out. It's not escaping either, and it's not releasing either. So it's kind of between. What can I do, Master, at this point?
Who is that? Oh, okay. Continue. Next. Wei Mao.
Master, I have a question. So cultivating here at Wei Mountain Temple, is it the same as cultivating at Low Mountain Temple?
At where?
Low Mountain Temple.
You have inter-temple there?
We have this court at Low Mountain Temple as well.
It's almost as good. In the future, don't worry in the future. Don't worry about the fact it's not really anyone at WMT right now. Eventually, it will fill up. So if you must be at Lu Mountain, then go to Lu Mountain. It's okay. Nothing to worry about. It's always trade-offs. You get this, and you get some, you lose some. Okay? Don't worry so much. I explain things to you in order for you to embrace it, not to be greedy. I want to go to DTT, but you can't. I want to go to BMT, but you can't. Then do the next best thing that you can. You think you have a problem? You only have problems. Seriously? We all are just trying to control ourselves. Enduring it, that's part of the training. You only afflicted. I'm worried, I'm frightened. If they break something, I have to pay for it. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, that's the driver, Master YongHua, Master Old Monk to the temple, to the emergency room. Were you worried? Did you hear? Oh, never mind. Ignore him. Okay. So, what happened today? Were you worried? Did you hear the explanation? You missed it? You missed it completely? Oh my God! I mean, he's not good, you know. Tell him how, you know. Tell him about we just discussed the Master O Abbot, and you know, and you know, 2 days in a row. It's worrisome. Were you worried? You didn't know 7. 7. One.
Yeah, Master, I didn't know that until the Master asked me to try him today.
Yeah, he's very tough. He doesn't complain. He doesn't, you know.
And
he doesn't
it happened
ever say
yesterday
anything.
and
He
today,
takes it.
and then
Yeah. He's a lot more stoic than I am. I whine. I complain.
Yeah.
I'm so afflicted. I easily get afflicted. Okay. Very good. Well, yes, too. Hello.
Lyle says the one who hurt her knees from JMT, Heysun's teacher, she sat for 24 hours, not 4.
24 hours. No wonder. Don't ever sit 24 hours. That's too many. So now the next 5 years, don't sit anymore because that's just sat long enough. You're way ahead of all of us. Take it easy. Yes, Wei Mountain. Thank you for the correction, Lyle. That's a translation. Who translated? Sarah? Oh, okay. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. Since I got a job, so my job position is getting standing, so my daily meditation can help me a lot. But my focus on is increasing, but my memory is also getting worse and worse. So I was getting worried about Yeah, so no thought, trying to do no thought to make bad memory or aging processing. Can you explain for me?
Explain what?
Why I'm getting my memory is worse and worse.
How old are you?
53.
53? It's about that time, isn't it? We start losing it. So welcome to old age. Don't you know the 4 phases of a person's life? Birth, old age, and death? Something like that? Huh? You should be happy you're not sick. You only experience birth, old age, and death. You see, there's always a bright side to everything. I challenge you to find, the right side to the kids running around. You see, that's how you only have to change your paradigm. It's that simple. You cannot change your paradigm, change perspective, then endure. Endure, endure, endure until you see different paradigm. It's that simple. That's how your heart grows bigger. You can endure more. Okay, so same with you, young lady, 53 years old, endure. So your memory is getting worse, and your job requires you to...
That's why I work at the accounting, but I also work because my company is very small company, so I have to work for the HR also. So when I working, I have to memorize for something data, something.
Then tell them.
Anyway, so I forgot. Just 1 hour ago it happened, but I forgot. So I feel very guilty at my workplace. Yeah. So.
Okay. First thing is first. Your first job is accounting, right? Don't forget accounting. But since the additional burden you're taking on, you're not really getting paid for it, it's okay to forget. I always find a compromise in life. Okay? Yeah. So first things first. When you go to work, you have to be very clear about what's expected of you. What is your job description? So you make sure you fulfill it. Okay? And the additional stuff, it's okay to forget. And eventually, the boss will get the message. They say, oh, you seem to be forgetful about the things I don't pay you. Only you remember all the things I pay you. So how about I pay you for the things you forget? Then you remember. It's natural for you to remember because it's natural for us. As you cultivate more and your concentration level increases, then you naturally tend to detach from the unimportant things of life, which is a nice thing. Most people, they hoard. They want to know more and more and more, okay, to the point where we eventually get old. Like Master Xianjie's dad, who is an architect, and he's from Switzerland, the German Switzerland part, where they are very, very brainy. They think and think and think and think, okay? And now he's older, and I'm afraid to tell you that his brains is kind of ceased functioning because it's abused his entire life. So the good news is that you may be forgetful right now, but when you get older, you won't be as forgetful. Something to look forward to, no? And that's all. That's a natural. Listen, the reason you forget, is because it's not that important to you. I taught you already. I taught you that focus on accounting because it's important to your job. Okay? One day, when you decide it's important to you, you will not forget. You forget right now because you're not getting paid. Who cares? I would do the same thing too. Okay? Eventually, the boss will get the message. Pay me, then I remember. Okay? Don't worry, you're on the right track. It's okay to be forgetful. I'm forgetful too. But, that's how you're able, that's part of wisdom, you're able to let go of things that are not necessarily important for you. Okay? Whereas ordinary people can't. They got to flip their over kids, other people's kids. The first thing I say, yeah, I'm glad I don't have a kid. You see? I change paradigm immediately. See, you say, you say, oh, it's somebody else's kid. Oh my God, I'm so lucky. See? It's not your affliction, it's someone else's affliction. Don't take somebody's affliction, make it yours. It's what a monk taught me a long, long time ago. I first started. My late dad used to quote this Hinayana monk. You leaving us too, Jane? Oh, well. This morning is almost the old Abbot, now is old Jane. Who is giving you a ride to the airport? Okay. Oh, God. How sweet of her, Fang. Huh? In a week? Oh, hurry back. Bye, Jane. Make sure to come back. Don't get mushy now, girls. We are cultivators. So anyway, where were we again? Anyway. Any other questions? Any issues? Yes, 3 in the back.
Yeah, but this is not a question, but I just wanted to introduce myself. Con tên là Thùy, so you can stop.
I always call you Thùy, but now it's actually Thùy.
So you can stop calling me lady.
Okay, excuse me, lady. I mean, okay. I missed lunch today, so I wanted to ask someone, is it Thùy or Thùy? Yeah, and now I know. I'm so sorry, lady. I call you lady. So is it Thùy or Thùy? Thùy. Oh, okay. See, hey, Yun, I'm forgetful too. Okay, anyone else has a question, comment? Okay, if you have no questions or comments, let's learn some dharmas for a change. The last 2 nights we've been gabbing and gabbing and gabbing. And now So Wu is here. We should try to impress her that we are cultivators. We don't just sit here and bear all these children. Away mountain, yeah. No? Scratch that. Okay, all right. Okay, let's learn some Dharma. So, to recapitulate, a few nights ago, we started going to these teaching, the teachings of Master YongHua. We don't have the audio, only have the text part from his temples. And he talked about how he was in Guangdong, the Canton province, and he saw Master Xu Yun, his predecessor. And Master Xu Yun, he asked for a leave of absence of Master Xu Yun, which is a very polite way of asking for leave. And Master Xu Yun cried and wept and said, if you leave, you're not coming back. And Master Xu Yun said, no, definitely for sure, I'm coming back, I promise you. And then he left anyway. And he went to a temple that Master Xu Yun designated this monk here to be abbot of his temple in Liurong monastery in where is that? Anyone remember? This is the temple they knew each other at YongHua, a temple where the sixth patriarch was staying. And so they knew each other, and now this monk here is now an abbot of the Liurong monastery in Hong Kong. And as soon as he came, Master YongHua came, this monk here immediately asked him to be the head of the assembly, right there. Okay, the first chair, right there. And so it tells you that Master YongHua back then was already recognized as a real asset to the temples. At a young age, he was designated as the next patriarch by Master Xu Yun, bypassing all of Master Xu Yun's own disciples. Okay, and so. Oh, by the way, I'm glad that you brought up. This is part of cultivation is to speak your mind. You're never judged. We laugh at you behind your back, but we don't judge you. Okay? And, oh, she's lady, you know that. You know, she's so afflicted, the Canadians. So. And so forth. Okay. See? I mean, he's happy. Don't you like it when he's happy? Usually he's like, go away, kid. And so he at Master Xu Yun had a lot of disciples, competent disciples. I met one in Hong Kong too, Master Sheng Yi. But Master Xu Yun looked at Master YongHua and said, you are the one I've been waiting for. So now I can go. I know I can pass on the baton on to you. You're the next patriarch. And then he asked Master YongHua to stick around. He also, I believe, was at the head of the assembly at Master Xu Yun's temples. And then he left and went to this next temple, and head monk also immediately asked him to be the head monk. So you see, he was a real asset already. In our world, we've seen a lot of different people, monks and nuns, and we recognize them very, very fast. Okay. All right. I'm not sure about this Asian tradition of seeing one person and say, you should be head of the assembly. And I've seen it in the Master YongHua disciples too. His disciple told me that, I see how busy I am, so you're going to come and help me or not? It's sort of like, you want to be my head, the head of the assembly is? And I said, more? I'm Americanized. I react badly to it. I don't. What did you do for me when I was struggling for my life? And now that I survived, I'm supposed to help you? When I needed help, you didn't help me. Now that I'm here, I'm supposed to help you? And my first American reaction is, I can't believe this. You think so highly of yourself. So I laughed. Anyway, so to me, it's kind of weird for a monk, an abbot, and say, I want you to be. It's a nice, maybe Chinese way. Please teach me, you Asian people, because I'm not Asian. Maybe it's a nice way to recognize you as an asset, as a really important person for the Sangha. But to ask someone immediately, it's kind of weird to me. I'm so used more like, how about some tea? Can I give you some tea? And shoot the breeze a little bit and talk and find out what is it I'm looking for before offering me to be number 2. I chuckled and I said, number 2? You should offer me your temple. Anyway, I'm too Americanized. Okay? So to me, I look at this, I chuckle a little bit and say, wow, so Chinese. Okay? To us, Americanized people, Western educated people, it's kind of lacking manners. You know what I'm talking about? You assume you're so important that someone should be number 2. It's a compliment to the Asians, yeah, but to me it's an insult. Okay? It's lack of etiquette, lack of savviness. Anyway, continue. Yeah.
上殿走在人的前边，这就叫扳手。
I was the first in line while walking in the procession to the Buddha Hall. This is what is called the head monk.
你看，在南华寺做啥我也不反对。
When I was in Nanhua Temple, I would do whatever I was asked to do without any objections.
这么样，他就请我做扳手。
So the Venerable Master Mingguan asked me to be the head Dharma master.
扳手的地位就是天天愿意上殿就上殿，愿意过堂就过堂，不中意上殿也随便，不中意过堂也随便。
The head monk had the privilege of deciding if he wanted to go to the Buddha Hall and the dining hall. If not, it is all right.
Oh, I didn't know that. And excuse me, people, where I came from, does it come with an expense account? You know what an expense account is? I'm talking to the wrong people. Forget it. Expense account meaning you're given like a... You don't even know what an expense account is? Yeah, they call it. Basically, you're given a certain amount of money you can spend at your discretion. For example, you need to take people, wine and dine people, and buy gifts for people and so forth. So that's why you give an expense account so that you can function without having to worry about getting permissions. Low level in the companies, they have something called purchase orders, where before you buy something, you need to get approval for. Then you can put in the purchase order. Okay, if you don't have a purchase order, you cannot buy things. So when you get to a higher level, you have an expense account. We call it generally known as expense account, or they call it business credit card or whatever. And you have a limit, and you can spend it. Yeah, that's called Chinese wrestling, boy. Stop whining. You ask your brother to learn some Shaolin wrestling. God. Asian kids. Look at that. Yeah. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
但是我还天天上殿过堂，我不懒惰的。
However, I still went to the Buddha hall and the dining hall every day. I was not lazy.
就这么样，有一次我就对他讲，共产党就快来广州了。
One day, I told Venerable Master Mingguan, the communists are approaching Guangzhou quickly.
我知道这个六榕寺好多钱的，有几百条经，每一条10两金。
I knew that Lirong Temple was wealthy, having several hundred bars of gold. Each bar is worth 10 taels of gold.
大约有2000多两的样子。
The monastery had more than 2,000 taels of gold.
还有这大头，你们广东叫大元。
Plus, the silver coins called datu, the big head from the beginning of time of the Republic of China, which were dubbed Dayuan in Guangdong.
大约有1500-600块的样子大元，还有这个纸币，大约有12万港币的样子。
The monastery had 1,500 to 1,600 dayuan, as well as paper currency worth 100,000 to 200,000 Hong Kong dollars.
12万港币好多钱了，这是1949年的时候。
100,000 to 200,000 Hong Kong dollars was a lot of money back in 1949.
那么我说，共产党就快来了，你应该把这个钱分给大家。
So I said, the communists are coming soon. You should distribute the money and give it to everyone here.
这个钱是十方来的，大约有30几个出家人在这里住。
The money was from donations from 10 directions. There were over 30 monks residing there.
我说，你分配每一个人钱，他们愿意钱就给钱。
I told him, you should divide the money up and give it to everyone here. Whoever wants money should be given some.
愿意在这里住就在这里住，在这里住还可以立伙食，自己有一点钱可以自己买自己吃。
Those who would like to stay can stay. They can set up their own meal plans. Since they have a little money, they can buy their own food.
这个钱比都放在常住一起好多了。
This would be much better than keeping all the money in the temple in one pot.
分开给30几个人，一个人分3000、5000，庙上可以留一半。
If you give the money to 30 plus monks, everyone can get $3,000 to $5,000, and the monastery can keep the remaining half of the total amount.
那一半分给十方的师父，中医在这边住，在这边住。
That half can be for Dharma masters from the 10 directions. Whoever wants to stay here can do so.
不中意在这边住，他有路费了，随他便。这是第一个条件。
Whoever doesn't wish to stay would have travel money. It's up to the individual. This was my first suggestion.
Okay, let's stop here. Okay, how interesting Master YongHua is. He's a communist after all. So he agreed, Master YongHua agreed to be the head of the Buddha Hall, the host of the Buddha Hall. And and he took it very seriously. He worked, and actually, it's a very kind of him because he's trying to set the example to the other monks. So he sets the standards. When you head of the assembly, then everyone imitates you. So you set the standards of how to bow, how to walk, how to stand, the four awesome comportments. That's what you learn from the head of the assembly. Okay, and so he took it seriously, and so he Mingguang. So he accepted, and it's impressive that he did a good job. Was not lazy at all. And one day he realized the communists were coming soon to Guangzhou, that state, and Lirong has a reputation of being quite wealthy, had a lot of gold. And so what he did is he suggested that the abbot would divide the money to everyone there in the temple. Okay, so there were 30 monks residing there. Wow, that's a lot of monks. So clearly the temple is doing well, 30 monks there. And it says, split in half, take half, give it to all 30 people, or 30 monks, and they can stay. If they stay at the temple, they can set up their own, buy their own food or whatever, because maybe it's in anticipation that the temple will get into hard times, and so at least the monks who can take care of themselves. When the communists come, it would be a lot tougher for the temple to operate. So at least these 30 monks, in terms of rewarding them for being in the temple, at least let's take care of them. See, what is that called? It's called leadership. You don't just stand there. You have to take care of the assembly. That's part of the training. And so he took care of the assembly. He took care of all the monks there. And he says, it's much better you divide it out so that at least they have to chase after the monks instead of just going to the coffers and pick up all the gold. Okay, and the temple will not be poor. Even if you keep only half of the money there, it's still quite a bit of money. And for that money, Master Sheo, so typical of him, says, let me spend it for you as well. Why are we so attached to money anyway? It belongs to all the sanghas of the 10 directions. And this is the concept. What we have here, okay, must be shared with all the monks and nuns of the 10 directions all over the universe. Okay, and so he says, very much like San Francisco here, we welcome homeless people from all over the 10 directions. We give them food, we give them medicine, syringes, drugs for cheap. That's why we cannot solve the homeless people's problem here in San Francisco. The city is drowning in... I heard that they spend like $70,000 per year for a tent. They rent a tent for homeless people. They're very nice. So they get a tent and they pay. They rent a spot there in the parking lot somewhere, and they spend about $70,000 per year for that one small piece, about half of that, right there. Okay. San Francisco is very generous, so we have nothing to worry about. If the communists come and take all our money, we can go become homeless. Anyway, so communist, Master YongHua. He said, hey, everyone can come, we share with them too. Is that where we at? And then, and furthermore, and if they come and they hear of this, and they come and they say they take the money, don't wish to stay, we still give.
Banks in Hong Kong.
这是第二个条件，你不好存在广州了。
This was the second suggestion. You'd better not keep any money in Guangzhou.
香港这地方一定能靠得住吗？就这么同我讲道理。
Is Hong Kong such a reliable place? He argued back.
我说，香港不会有广州这么乱的。
I said, Hong Kong wouldn't be as chaotic as Guangzhou.
我说，第三个条件呢？你把六榕寺搬到香港去。
I also said, my third suggestion is that you relocate the Liu Rong Temple to Hong Kong.
把所有的佛像、所有的人都搬到香港，你用这个钱买一块地，在这里造个庙。
Move all the Buddha statues and all the people to Hong Kong. You use this money to buy a piece of land and build a temple here.
10几万港币可以造好大一个庙，大约人工也便宜，材料也便宜。
For 100,000 Hong Kong dollars, you can build a really big temple. Probably the labor is cheap and the materials are cheap too.
10几万港币造庙用不了那么多，你搬到香港，把这个出家人也都带到香港去，你还现成成的做方丈，太平平的。
You don't even need 100,000 Hong Kong dollars to build a temple. You move to Hong Kong and take the monks to Hong Kong as well. You can still be the abbot peacefully.
这3个条件，我一个也不能做的，不能做。那好了，又过几天，我就想要走。
I cannot take any of the 3 suggestions. He cannot accept? Oh well. A few days later, I wanted to leave.
那时有很多逃难的，大约各地所有人都跑到广州来，因为韶关已经解放了。
At that time, there were refugees coming down to Guangzhou from all over because Shaoguan was already liberated.
Okay, 3:30. Let's go back and look at this thing here. I don't know what's going on. Maybe you can fill in some more details here for the sake of all of us. So my YongHua suggestion as number 2 in a temple is that divide up the money and give to everyone. Okay, take care of our people. And the abbot says, no, I don't want to do that because it's wrong. It would be, that's how the monks speak. They say would violate cause and effect. And because typically the asset of the temple are part of the permanent dwelling sangha of the 10 directions. So the abbot is simply a manager. So he has to be very careful not to lose it, not to waste it. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. I really appreciate how pragmatic Great Master Shenhua as being in this fog of war scenario. And it's quite revealing that on one hand, the abbot was offering Great Master Shenhua to be his number two, and then immediately doesn't take any of his suggestions.
Right, precisely, and that's because the abbot was able to recognize Master Shenhua's kung fu, that he's his high-level kung fu and it shows in his deportment. Back then, I'm sure Master Shenhua was very, very adorned. He didn't hide himself like now. When he came to the U.S., he disappeared. He no longer stood out when I saw him. But I'm sure at the time, the typical monks in China would have awesome comportment, so they can be spotted immediately. That's their Chinese style. So the abbot recognized him as a superior monk, but so he only was interested in using Master Shenhua to his advantage. Okay, offering comfort, offering recognition, but he doesn't really have any wisdom whatsoever. So in other words, the abbot basically of that temple, of Liurong temple, is basically take advantage of Master Shenhua. And Master Shenhua probably owed the abbot, that's why he stuck around. Master Shenhua is very clear. He wouldn't explain this to you. But Master Shenhua never cared for recognition, for food, for clothing, and so forth, even at that time already. But he stuck around clearly because he owed either the abbot or the people in the assembly, the monks there. He tried to help them. Okay, the abbot thought that he could retain Master Shenhua with recognition and comfort and expense account, but it's not his role at all. It's not his intention. So when Master Shenhua's suggestion was to take care of the monks, and the abbot said, "No, I'm not going to give money to our monks," which is, by the way, in principle, that's the way that the Hinayana people do. When you go to a temple and you offer, let's say, $100, hint, hint, never mind, okay, $20, cheapskates. So you offer $20. What we do, what you go to a Hinayana temple typically, is that we take all the money that's donated to us and then divvy it up equally. So since, for example, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay. 8 people. So you take $20 and divide it by 8 people, we all get the same amount. So what's the point of being an abbot? It makes you wonder. Anyway, okay, I'm getting lost in details. So you see, so that's called part of the Liuhe, the 6 harmonies, where whatever we receive in offerings, we divide it equally in a temple. So that's what. So when Master Shenhua says, this is what the Buddha taught in the community of the Sangha. He says, whatever we receive in certain benefits, we divide it up. We all have equal share. And so what Master Shenhua suggested is consistent with the Buddha's teaching. Nothing new. Okay. And later, after he had his own temple, then he would behave the same way as the abbot. He said, no, I would making a mistake in cause and effect. I would not divide it up anymore. See, he learned very quickly. Okay, so the Master Shenhua said, "Oh, you don't want to divide it because you don't trust me. I'm just have 1 of the 30. I'm not even asking for 10 times more. But anyway, I'm disappointed. How about number 2? Move to Hong Kong. Okay, you have we can have cash here. He's not even suggesting to sell the temple. He says, use the cash we have here. And so his point is that if the communists come, it would lose all the cash anyway. Okay, so move it out to Guangzhou, to Hong Kong. And the abbot says, okay, is Hong Kong a safe place? And he said it may not be completely safe, but it won't be as dangerous as in Guangzhou. You will stay here. The communists will not be respectful of the temple properties and assets. And then along with it, not only when you move the money to Hong Kong, you should use that money to build a temple so that you still are an abbot. You move everything. You move all the properties from the temple to Hong Kong. You know how expensive that is? All the temples, the statues and all those things are very, very expensive. To replace them costs a lot. This is why our temple, we don't have statue, we don't have anything. You should be lucky that you have a roof over your head. Stop complaining. Okay, so don't be so attached to images. We're practicing not attached to marks, not attached to images. So I said, go buy a piece of land and it's pretty cheap for $100,000, which is less than what you have in terms of cash available right now. You can build a really big temple, real big temple. Labor is cheap, materials are cheap, and you still are an abbot as well. So we basically move operations over. That's all. And at least you continue to be an abbot. And so the abbot says, no way, I don't think it makes sense. I feel safe here. I don't want to go to the unknown. And of course, war is coming, so lots of refugees running to Guangzhou. So it's not just the communists, but also very much like right now. People are hungry, and they steal things left and right, like here, in California. They break into cars and steal things, and go into department stores and steal things, walk out. Anyway, so it's chaos coming. Yes, we have 10 more minutes. Anyone has any questions or any suggestions, any comments they'd like to add to share with us the Chinese culture here? The times, it's chaotic times, and I'm sure there's a lot of grief for a lot of people. And you have to realize how lucky we are in this country. We only have one war, civil war, in our land, whereas there's no war at all. Okay, the wars in this country are when we invade Canada or Mexico. Oh, I mean Mexico, not Canada. Sorry. Okay. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. I do have a question. It may be for the Dharma Assembly members. I don't know. America has experienced a civil war. And the lasting impact of the cause and effect of that civil war are still very much with us today. I know for many Americans, we know it was brother versus brother, family versus family, and it cut very deep. But to help understand the situation that Great Master YongHua is in right now, would anybody be able to provide some context for what the state of things was in China for their civil war?
They're too young for that. I don't think they really can experience it. Anyone? Chinese people? Oh, Professor Jane is gone. I'm sure Jane has an opinion. Yes. Number 5.
So the
context is this is 1949. So in a few months, the liberation mentioned earlier basically means liberation basically means communist army takes over, the government takes over. And then what happens in the next couple of years, I just read the Liulong temple. Pretty much right away, the temple was occupied by a factory and then some other, basically the temple is being occupied and then used for other purpose. And then there's some back and forth about it was returned to the Sangha for a little bit, but then soon there's even longer period of turmoil, like Cultural Revolution and all that. So pretty much in mainland China, between 1949 to around 1980, basically temples cannot operate properly. Lots of monks are being forced to return to lay life.
If he had moved to Hong Kong, he would have freedom to operate.
Yeah, the temple properties are being confiscated. So that's roughly the case. So the great Master YongHua here is really, I think, exhibiting the leadership to advise the Sangha how to handle this very dangerous situation. And I think, in my opinion, if more Sangha would take advice like that or have the wisdom to make those type of recommendations, then Buddhism in China could have survived better.
So he himself, actually, Master Hsio himself moved to Hong Kong to be safe. So he didn't simply made the suggestion. He took his own suggestion. He moved to Hong Kong where he was safe for a while, and then he moved on. Okay, so he tried to help, but apparently he wasn't taken seriously. That's what happens when I'm sure that the abbot was becoming attached to his temple, and he had plenty of support. Maybe locally, maybe he felt bad, leaving his supporters and so forth. So that's part of the consideration for the abbot, I imagine. All right. Any other questions and comments? Yes, Nacho. One.
Thank you, Master. This is not related to these slides, but when I'm meditating, especially when we are reciting Buddha's name, I see that it's really difficult for me to concentrate because when I'm concentrating on the navel, I get distracted with my breath. So is that normal, or do you have any advice on how to not get distracted with that?
Okay, I'm sorry, a little bit loud here. Could you repeat, please?
Yeah, so when we are reciting Emitofuo,
yes,
I get distracted with my breath. So
you're distracted by what?
By my breath, breathing.
When you're breathing, okay.
Yeah. So
why do you have to worry about your breathing?
Yeah, I don't know why, but
you're afraid you're gonna die. You don't breathe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I try to recite Emitofuo as fast as we are reciting it, and if I need to breathe, it's like I cannot do it if I breathe.
No,
I don't know why.
You don't worry about breathing. All you worry is making the sound. Recite. That's all you do. And when you say, I want to recite Namo Emitofuo, then naturally you breathe. Your system is called Xing, meaning activity on the 5 skandhas. Your ego will naturally be able to do Xing, meaning that will be able to breathe naturally because you want to recite. So your your autonomous system, okay, is able to function without you say, breathe. That's not necessary. When you say breathe, it's still number 3. 4 is deeper. It doesn't need, 3 is thinking. You say breathe, right? But 4 is actually, you can breathe without thinking, naturally. Your body, your ego is saying, oh, I'm about to suffocate. I better breathe. So it doesn't need you to think about it. So that's why there's no point in worrying about breathing when you recite the Buddha's name. If you want a scientific explanation, that's as scientific as I can get. Okay? So don't worry about breathing. Just recite. Just concentrate on, you hear the sound, listen to the sound, you say, Namo Emitofuo. So when you recite, when the circumambulation, what you could do, maybe I should teach you how to recite. I figure you figure it out yourself eventually. What you do is you recite the Buddha's name, but if you don't think, you can recite very, very long without multiple breaths. So that's a very simple technique where you say Namo Emitofuo, where you try to make it as long as you can. For example, the way note, Namo Emitofuo Nam. You do that in one breath because you have no thoughts in your head. But if you have a thought, I better breathe like you do, then it's shorter. And then you have interruption. Namo, then I breathe. Me, breathe. It's not necessary. The sing, your natural breathing takes over. That's all. And this is the same thing when you guys doing the ceremonies. When you do ceremonies, you don't need to worry about breathing. You worry about making the sound. And as long as you don't think, you can chant for very, very long. That's all. So that's the first thing. That's the first check, is that when you recite the Buddha's name, how long can you recite? That tells how long your head is clear. Shh, don't tell me. Okay, this is supposed to be a subscription part. Okay? Don't tell people. The longer you can recite, meaning the clearer your head is. That's number 1. Okay? Number 2 is that when you recite long like that, you come to the end of your breath, what you are doing, you're exhaling. Guess what you're exhaling? Your karmic obstructions. The karmic retributions. You're exhaling the illnesses, the obstruction. Okay. Got that? So at the end of the breath, right there, Namo Emitofuo. See? You exhale as long, and it comes out. The longer it is, the more of them will come out. But if you go, no, guess what? You inhaling more karmic obstruction, then you exhaling. You see, young men, you have to learn to endure. If you think you are those things are cool, then nothing. The most important thing is to learn to endure. That's it. You endure, good things happen. It will happen naturally. Okay? Same thing. You endure this thing. You walk around, you're so bored. You're so, oh my God, kids, and chaos, communists, and so forth. Okay? You endure everything. Stop complaining. Stop here tonight. Thank you. Oh, Wei Mount, question. Let's bear one more question.
Thank you, Master. I'll make it really quick then. When we perform the great transference recitation, where does our merit and virtue go, and who gets it when we transfer it?
We transfer to all living beings, on behalf of all living beings. So what we do in the great transference is to officially give away all the blessings we generated from our work to all living beings so that they too can get to the Pure Land. Okay? That's why great transference is greatly appreciated, because we benefit everyone. All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's do the great transference.